Congress has so many forces acting on it, and such a narrow majority makes it really hard for one side or the other to get everything they want.
Chris, you know, when you take a look at the dynamics, right, you've got the incoming president, someone who basically says and does what he wants, sometimes listens to advice, sometimes does not. Scott Bessent, though, is he sort of the good cop to Trump? And is he the guy that kind of goes, look, Mr. President, there are going to be consequences if we do what you're thinking about doing. And then Trump turns back around to him and goes, look, all right, well, you make it work somehow. I don't care, but you do it. Bessent comes up with 333, which sounds great on paper, but none of it is consistent with a strong dollar or, you know, fiscal restraint. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right. None of it is consistent with fiscal restraint, no matter how much the new Treasury Secretary may want to deliver a more balanced budget and more sober debt trajectories. But all of that is really in the hands of Congress and the Republican majority. Even the hawks within the budget hawks within the Republican majority can't deliver a majority vote within Congress. So I think it's going to be very hard to see the budget deficit narrow dramatically in the next year or two. And so that I think is going to be the real challenge for Scott Bessent. He clearly has the market's confidence, I think, right now, as somebody who understands these dynamics and knows what needs to be done. I think we'll have to see, as you say, that relationship between the Treasury Secretary and the President. Last time around when Trump was president, Steven Mnuchin was able to, at least on the tariff issues, guide a fairly restricted tariff strategy that the markets, I think, appreciated. We'll have to see this time around because it looks like he's coming in with guns blazing on the trade front.
Christopher, broadly then, if there is momentum to this rout in the global bond market, then how conceivable is it that we see 5% on the 10-year yield? Is it more significant than just this key technical number? And is it going to be the CPI and a hotter set of prices that really get us there? And just how destabilising could that potentially be if it hangs around in that neighbourhood of 5%?
Well, I'm not so sure that we're there yet. I think we'll all look very closely at the next CPI. I mean, we're always looking very closely at the next CPI these days. But if you had a number that comes in more or less in line, I think you could see markets calm down a little bit. But the real question is going to be, again, what sort of fiscal path are we going to be on? What kinds of tax cuts and spending increases are we likely to get in this next budget? And what will that do both to inflation expectations and, the jobs market that continues to be quite hot?